Welcome to Ish I Saw on TikTok. In this series, we look at TikToks and some stitched responses where something very prevalent in dating today is discussed. Then finally, I'll provide my commentary at the end of just me being myself, unfiltered and unadulterated. Hi, I'm Janelle, the relationship coach behind The Successful Invisible. I work with successful, savvy, wonderful, professional Black women, single professional Black women who are 35 plus and are seeking just better dating options and have no clue where to start. Check out my links below if you're interested in working with me one-on-one or in a group coach setting. The goal of exploring some of these TikToks is to spark discussion and help you to develop more awareness, including self-awareness, in some of the patterns you've either engaged in or allow in your own dating life. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe.
So if you're dating over 40 and someone asks you, why are you still single? Show them this. I'm going to break down the dating pool for you. We have all the men. We need to take away the ones that are married, aren't age appropriate because we are over 40, ones that are gay, ones that are broke, the ones that are emotionally unavailable, the ones that still have drama with their ex. We're going to take away the ones that are perpetual bachelors, okay? Then we have the ones that don't know what they want, the ones that love bomb you. And then, all right, so this is what we have. So we want someone who's attractive. 5'10", so I need someone over 5'8". So a few people who decide they still want to smoke cigarettes, they have to meet the people who don't want any more children. And this is what I'm left with. However, we need to take this then. They're not all in my area. We need to then spread these people around the world. This is what we're dealing with. Any questions?
When people say that dating's hard in your 30s, I think that they're missing a part that makes it even harder to date in your 30s, and that's if you're child free. Like, by the time you're in your late 30s, most of the dating pool is, people who still want children, or people who already have children from a previous marriage or relationship. And there's an even smaller amount of people who don't have children and don't want them. And it's like, how do I find them? Like, where are you? Please. I'm looking. I don't know where you are.
So one of the most awkward conversations that tend to come up whenever I start dating someone is the question of whether or not I want children. Let me first say that I always put in my dating profiles that I don't want kids. And so either they didn't see that part of my dating profile or I met them through a different way. But when the conversation of children come up, it's interesting watching them try to delegitimize my reasoning for not wanting to have children, or thinking that they can change my mind, or thinking that I just need more time in order to come to terms with whether or not I want children. First of all, I've been saying this since I was 15. Part of that could be I have 5 younger brothers and sisters and I help raise some of them. So I feel like I've done that parental side of my life. And also I work with kids every single day. But whenever I tell them why I don't want children, which is that 1, children are extremely expensive. 2, I don't think I want to change my lifestyle to accommodate a child. And 3, the world is a shitty place. And do I feel comfortable bringing a child, particularly a Black child, into today's society? No. And then they'll say, well, what about like your legacy? And don't you want to pass down your genes? You're so pretty. Don't you want a child that looks like you? No. My legacy is bigger than any child. I will build a legacy that will be bigger than any child. There's nothing special about my genes. I have 10 older brothers. The genes are out there. Will I change my mind? I doubt it. Although I never say never. But I never want anyone to get into a situation with me or a long-term relationship with me expecting that my mind is going to change if they feel like children for them is a deal breaker. Because not having children for me right now is a deal breaker. I don't want kids. I would make a great stepmom though.
I can't be the only woman who's had to deal with this. Leave it to men to make it an issue because you want to be a well-rounded woman in today's society. I was talking to this guy and he was like, wow, you're in your 30s, you've never been married, you don't have any children. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Sir, you told me that you have 3 children by 2 different women and you're not with any of them. There is something wrong with me? Excuse me for wanting to travel and, live abroad and live my life before, settling down and having children and getting married. Excuse me for wanting to focus on my career so I can become a self-sufficient individual in today's society and not be dependent on anyone. Think of children. My dog lives a better life than some of the children that you guys have brought into this world, but there's something wrong with me. Excuse me for wanting to work on myself as an individual so that I can hone in the skills, knowledge, and wisdom to cultivate and grow a loving, sustaining relationship with the individual. Excuse me for actually thinking about the individual that I want with me when it comes to raising children. I don't think some of y'all be thinking about who it is that you're bringing children into this world with. I just wanted to live my life, a little bit before I started to have kids because I don't want to live a life of regret. I don't ever want to get on here and be like, what if, like some of you guys, but there's something wrong with me. I don't know.
It always cracks me up when people literally try to convince me that I want children after I've iterated time and time again that I don't want children. And I will probably never want, not even probably, actually, let me take the probably out. I will never want children. Okay? I am the firstborn daughter of an immigrant family. My parents are from Uganda. The expectation is that I should want kids. I have 2 younger siblings. I don't ever want children. And I think the reason why is 1, they don't fit my lifestyle. So that's 1. 2, I feel as though because I was the oldest, raising kids is something I'm very familiar with. My parents were present parents. Well, my mom was. But for me specifically, there is a level of responsibility that I had at a very young age because I had siblings now. Also, I just feel as though I don't trust the world with children. And I am very, very protective. I'm very, very, very protective of my friends, of people that I love and care about. So if I had kids, it would be like on 1,000. So really, I'm trying not to have kids, or I'm not going to have kids for the sake of y'all. Okay? Because one thing about it, if something happened to my kid, I'm ending all of this. We all finna be done. There's no coming back from that. So, next time you want to ask me if I want children and I say no, just know it's for your sake too, as much as it is for mine. Thank you.
Girl, fuck them kids and fuck you too.
Okay, help me to understand because I'm at a loss for words and maybe I'm just being a little slow, I have my moments, but yeah, anyway, so I was talking to this guy and he said, I'm a parent, I have kids. And you already know how I feel about people with kids. So he was like, yeah, I have kids. And he was like, I'm a single father. I was like, oh, you have them 24/7. You dropping them off at school, making breakfast, lunch, and dinner, taking them to sporting events, making sure they got their baths, their teeth brushed, tucking them in. You're that type of father. He was like, no, I have them 50-50. So you're co-parenting. He was like, no, I'm a single father. I was like, but their mother is in their life? He was like, yes. So how are you a single parent? Whenever I think about a single parent, I think about my mom and me. Whenever she divorced my father, she became a single parent. It was just me and her. She was doing everything. That is a single parent to me. Not someone who is co-parenting with the other parent. She's very much active in their children's lives. So maybe I'm just being a little slow and it's not turning over enough for me. But help me to understand, how do you get to claim the title of a single parent? And maybe that's why people don't be wanting to deal with y'all, because y'all using the wrong titles. Instead of you just saying you got kids, you're a father, you out here telling people you a single parent. And people are like, oh, no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. You don't have no time for me in dating. Help me to understand.
I don't date men with kids. I have a couple different issues with it. The first one is if you're a good parent, you're probably spending a significant amount of time with your kids. You're going to school plays, baseball games, recitals. And in that situation, it's nonsensical and rude of me to expect any sort of priority in your life. And I've taken the back seat in enough relationships. It's time I'm with someone who's all about me. And if you're not a good parent and you have kids, but somehow you're never with them, why would I want you? And honestly, I don't think that mindset is selfish at all. What's selfish is dating a man and constantly trying to pull him away from his kids so that he can be with you. My other issue is I don't even really want kids right now for myself, so why would I want to play stepmommy? And also, when the kids are really young, you're probably still trying to figure out your co-parenting situation and your relationship to each other, and I don't want to be involved in all that. That's a lot. And I know some men are going to get on here and say, what about women with kids? Y'all have the right to feel the same way. Also, I ask for what I give. I don't have kids, so I'm not expecting anyone to deal with me being a parent. I make money. I have a career, I take care of myself, I don't have kids, I have a good relationship with my family, I go to therapy, I have solid conflict resolution skills. I don't ask for anything from someone that I am not giving. I understand that dating's hard enough and it gets more difficult to avoid men with kids the older you get, but I'll wait.
When it comes to dating now, you will not be compatible with everybody you meet. All right? And as soon as you learn that y'all two are not compatible, get up through. Don't try to stick it out. Don't try to suffer. Don't try to fix them. Run ASAP. Because as soon as I find out someone wants kids, I stop entertaining it. I don't even make it on the first day because we are on two different chapters in life. We want two completely different lifestyles, and that is okay, but I am not going to stick around so you can try to change my mind or peer pressure me. My mind is already made up, and me personally, I don't want to deprive anybody from their desires as well. If you want to go impregnate somebody, go right ahead. Do what makes you happy, but over there.
I do not want kids. So here's some things that I do while dating to help navigate that, because I don't think it's too common yet. First and foremost, I let them know early, okay, within the first 3 dates at least, if it has not come up in conversation naturally. And if it hasn't come up, I'm gonna make it come up. Just by, learning their family structure is one way to do it. If they have nieces, nephews, ask if they want any children or blah, 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 blah. I just assume men do, but still ask. You could ask what their 5 to 10 year plan is. And when you give your answer, not yet, because we have another point to get to, but when you give your answer, you can say, hey, you could just slip it in there. You know what I mean? Conversationally, because I'm going to be here, here, and here. And it's going to be great because I won't have any kids, or I don't want any kids. So I can do this, I can do that, blah, 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 blah. Whatever your reasons are, just slip it in. And what I do after that is I give them a scale of 1 to 10 after I ask men how many kids they want or figure out where they are. And this is so they can stand on it, because in my experience, men will not take you seriously when you say that you don't want kids. They're either going to think, because I'm 27, oh, you're so young, you'll change your mind, or they're just not going to take you seriously. They're going to think that they can be the exception to the rule and that they're magically going to change your mind for something that could be completely independent of a man in your life, So we got these 3 ranges that men usually fall into, and 7 to 10, that man wants kids. Okay, there's no way around it. There's no way about it. He wants kids. 4 to 6, they're 50-50 at that point. So I ask questions, just wondering why they would be 50-50. 1 to 3, I'm still asking questions because, again, men usually want kids, okay? And all that stuff. And I ask them this question first because men will usually match you at where you're at. He might be a 7 to 10, and then once you're in the 1 to 3, he might bring it down because that's what you said. You know what I mean? So I asked them that way they can stand on it. I literally asked the guy maybe a couple weeks ago where he stands on the scale, and this man said 9. I said 1. And he said, oh, well, 9 plus 1 equals 10. Huh? He ate that one little thing, but no. And this man still wanted to talk to me. So this is exactly why I'm saying you have to make the decision. You decide what happens next, because these men are still going to pursue you. Don't think that just because they know where you stand is going to change anything. If he's going to just fall back. No, That is not the case. Men will not leave. You have to leave. So that's where I stand on that. If he's in the 4 to 6 range, I think that's dangerous. That's the orange zone, because he could later down the line resent you, or y'all are about to walk down the aisle and he says, hey, I know we talked about this, but I want kids. What you gonna do then? 7 to 10 range, I say don't bother. I think you're just asking for heartbreak at that point, because kids are a deal breaker and should remain that way. So I'm only looking for people in that 1 to 3 range, and it's really just given 1. Okay. And that's why I like to date older, mostly because while men might know what they want, once they're 35, they're like established in their career. They know where their bandwidth actually is. There's no potential in the future, blah, 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 blah. They're acting in the now. When they're in their 30s, their 20s, of course, men want kids and blah, 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 blah. But at 35, their friends have all settled down, have kids. At 40, they're really thinking, hey, do I have the energy to be chasing toddlers around? Then they know for sure if they want kids or not, because it's giving now or never. Because yes, men can have kids or make kids up until they die, right? But women don't have that luxury. So they have to decide now, hey, I'm getting older. I need to do some make or break decisions right here. And then, the older that they are, I think I'm going to be more likely to find people who don't want kids, or they already have kids and aren't interested in having any more with me. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. So those are just some things that I implement in my dating life.
Let's jump into my favorite part of all of the content I post on YouTube. And that's just my thoughts, where I get to kind of express what I feel about whatever we have read or gone over. So let's get into it. All right, now I really love this second video I posted about challenges in dating, because I really wanted to focus on a lot of the issues that child-free ladies have. And that is finding someone who is on the same page as you. Now, I know there are main categories like child-free by choice, or women who are childless who can't have kids. I would put myself in a third category that is not often talked about, and that's called child-free by discernment. And I have quite a few clients who also fall in this category, quite a few coaching clients who, it's not that they don't want kids, but they're very mindful about the expense and the responsibility and the type of partnership and environment that's necessary to raise kids. So at this point in time in their lives, they don't have them, because even if they've done their work to have the financial position and the stability, they have not found a partner who is at the level of emotional maturity, financial, not just stability, but prosperity, who also has the mindset and the maturity to be able to build with them. So that is a big challenge in dating. Another thing I really liked in the videos I stitched was the woman who had the demonstration at the beginning, the show about the dating pool. And that, I honestly have to say, that is true to some extent. But I think one thing that I noticed a lot in Black women as a collective is that Black women are extremely race loyal. And it is very hard for many Black women to come to a point where they make a decision, a conscious decision, where this is not flippant, to date outside of their race, to date outside of their ethnic group. And once women get to a certain level of success, it is almost mandatory. I don't want to say mandatory. It is a wise choice to explore your options in mates who don't look like you. So I've never dated based upon race. I've always dated for compatibility and alignment. So there are far too many men that do look like me who are not marriage minded, because I know growing up maybe in a single parent home has maybe had an impact, and just the cultural foolishness that has been fed to a lot of Black men within our subculture of the African American community. Those play a part. But I simply don't fool with men who aren't marriage minded. And I say that to say that it is very important to find someone who is compatible with you. So if your dating pool is limited, definitely think about expanding it. think about how you need to expand it. You need to be very intentional, especially to my professional ladies out here who are 35 plus and they have their own stuff. They are very financially not just stable, but prosperous. And you have these six-figure jobs and all of these wonderful degrees and professional certifications. Do not give a man a chance just because he looks like you. You will end up in financial ruin. That is just prudent advice. If you want to just look at the pay gap, just purely economics, you as a black woman earn less than white men, black men, and white women, even with more education. It is complete financial suicide to deal with a man at our big ages of 35 plus, to deal with a man who has less going on for you than financial. So once you get into these spaces and you're making those nice six-figure salaries, you need to really be honest with yourself about if you want a partnership that's prosperous, and money is very important. Remember, marriage is a contract. And I know people want to talk about love and all that and date people who like you, that you like. That advice is for children. That advice is for teenagers and 20-somethings. When you're 35 plus and you're a working professional and you've built your career over the past 15, 20 years and you've done all this schooling and you possibly have school debt, but you're making this good money, you need to date with serious intention. You cannot afford to deal with someone who is not on the same wavelength as you. Compatibility and alignment in terms of their finances and their level of education, as well as ambition, needs to be a match. That is a big thing. Ambition and complacency are not compatible. And I have found far too many men that are complacent, and therefore I try to never go to places where men like that socialize. Level up where you socialize. That's another thing that will help in dating. So challenges in dating absolutely do exist, but when you are mindful, intentional, and have a strategy of how to make the best of the world that we live in, and meeting more men going out than on dating apps tend to have a very high percentage of men who are never actually out in these nicer establishments. A lot of men who are socially awkward or quote unquote weird or have issues, that's their only link is on dating apps. You're more likely to meet them because that's their only form of connection. You lessen your chance of meeting these men. You don't eliminate, because you can meet freaks and weirdos anywhere. You lessen your chance when you actually are going out and engaging in the world in activities that are in alignment with the caliber of man, and I'm talking about tax status, that you want to meet. So challenges in dating exist, but when you have the right game plan and you've done your own work to be able to put yourselves in those spaces, you have a higher likelihood of success. Thank you for joining me today for this episode of Ish I Saw on TikTok, Challenges in Dating Part 2 of 2. Watch this video again and take some notes. Reflect on your current and former romantic situations with men. Take your time and see what applies, and see what tips that come up that you really should think about leaning into. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you're interested in working with me one-on-one, check out the links below. Also, check out my podcast, The Successful Invisible, next season publishing soon on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Until next time.